It's a software, a music distributor, publisher, which works on a shareware model. They have very lax control of their copies, where it goes, but even still, they manage to sell a good proportion of their works, and they offer a range of prices, and they even earn more than the minimum asking price for the copies of the work. Marillion offers a fan base model where they get support directly from their fans. A recent EU consumer survey has found that 63% of the people said they would pay more to have content always available and available wherever and whenever they want to use it. And the rights system would obviously support this. And an important point here is, even if you lost all your content, your house was burned down, you can still go back to your rights office and say, I still own this valid identification, just give me another piece of content which matches this identification. A brief mention of the Creative Commons here. At the moment to institute the rights office system, it would require a license system, basically, like the Creative Commons. The big difference is that Creative Commons licenses a work, a piece of content, and anyone who gets hold of that obtains that global license. The big difference in the rights office system is licenses are issued to individuals, not globally on a piece of content. And this is what could allow a true business framework, which I think is lacking from the Creative Commons model. But as I say, the rights office system would still support the social common access to the work, which is what the Creative Commons are trying to achieve. As I said before, the system is, I propose, self-regulating. I mentioned some of these before. Again, more incentives for people to actually buy the content. There are direct benefits, permanent rights of access, no limit on copies, rapid access if you could use P2P networks, freedom to create derivative works even. There would be perhaps more rules here, but we have not time to go into them. The moral advantage. A lot of people would find it important to be able to say they own this content and have a right to use it, and this would be well established. Also, many people like to think they are supporting their artist or author and would willingly do this. And I've also briefly touched on dynamic benefits of this, setting up a distribution chain where there's a link between the consumer and the producer, and this link can be promoted by providing follow-up works and feedback. And effectively, you could even say the consumer is buying a share in the work and a share in the success of the author. Would it be possible to implement such a system? I don't have all the answers, but I don't see a legal or technical problem. Why not? It would be technically complicated to set up, but no more than any other distributed system on the internet using protocols and secure services. I would like to argue far more less complicated than setting up DRM, where you're trying to control every device, every piece of hardware on the network. Legal problems, at the moment I would, as far as I can see, you could implement it using licenses, under the copyright system. I don't propose abandoning copyright. It's still valuable for analog works. It's just an extension to the copyright system, bringing it into the digital world where you actually are allocating rights to consumers and other users. Of course, it would need a lot of development, a system for producing millions of persistent identifiers. The costs of this are somewhat unknown to me. If the costs were horrendous, it would not be feasible. But as I see it, with the progress of technology, it is not insurmountable or overly complicated. Licenses would have to be written. You'd need legal expertise to do this. Finally, if I would say I need help. If you think it's a really bad idea or you see something wrong, please tell me about it. If you have other ideas, please tell me about it. I would love to talk to anyone about it. I propose if afterwards you make yourself known to me, or we could get together. Just to finish off, my question was, are we on the right track? I've tried to propose another system, an alternative, to put us on the right track. And that's it. As I say, if you want more information, please go to the Common Rights website and/or just click on one of the identifiers for this speech, which will give you a link to more material. Thank you. So, any questions or too complicated?
What is it about enforcement? No, did you repeat the question?
Oh, there's a microphone.
How do you see doing enforcement of this? Is this the same way that it's done today, that the rights holders would try to find illegal copies and then try to sue the people involved? Or do you see any other way of doing enforcement, such as trusted computing or all the other proposals today that it's done on DRM?
Well, as I said, I see no need for DRM, and as I also said, enforcement would be partially self-regulating, because an illegal content under this system would be one which has had its identifications removed. And I keep coming back to this question, why remove the identification and make it illegal when you could just leave the identifications in place and have a perfectly legal copy? Obviously, you would need protection for the rights offices and their security. Somebody trying to hack into a rights office is doing wrong. You would have to rely on the normal law enforcement procedures to try and tackle that. The rights offices themselves would tend to be self-regulating, as I said. The author's rights office is acting for the author. They have a vested interest in maintaining security, issuing valid IDs, and exchanging them reliably with other offices. And it's the same with the consumer's office. It has a vested interest in protecting its consumer, and these two offices are checking each other. And so, for the most part, they'll want to act sensibly. The other point is, it's a distributed system. Millions of these offices, if there's an office issuing false IDs, messing up the system, like any other node on the network, it can be bypassed. You just stop, other nodes on the network would just stop dealing with that rights office.
Do you see any kind of system that stops me from consuming content with some other person's ID on it, that I'm not telling the rights office that I'm consuming this? Because,
No.
yes, it would be an illegal copy, but that would pretty much be the same way as it's done today without the ID.
Exactly. There would be nothing stopping you consuming somebody else's copy with their ID on it. Providing you keep the ID on it, it is legal. Nothing wrong with it. If you started posting that on the internet saying, here, I'll give you this copy, that would be illegal because you don't own the rights to it and you can't start giving it to other people. But this would be pretty obvious. Oh, another question there, behind you.
Hi. We already have a system for registering creative works in the existing collective management system.
Yes.
How do you see the relationship between the system you're proposing? Is that already one half of the system you're proposing? If you add sort of machine-readable tags that the collecting societies would be issuing for a registered work? Or is that a completely incompatible system? Thanks.
Technologically, it might be slightly incompatible that they're not registering things in the same way, and they're certainly not producing these unique identifiers. But I would see no problem for them joining the system, and as they issued content to other people, they would just issue these rights office identifiers at the same time. And yes, the rights offices could form an important part of the system and probably effectively operate their own rights office on the system. And that could be the same for libraries even. They could operate a rights office system for works which are in the public domain or for people who want to register works completely for free. There might be a new role for libraries in the future where they could operate a rights office system free of charge. I hope that answers some of your questions. Anything else? Is that it? I guess it's time. Yes. Thank you all for coming.